All right, top 4 movements that firefighters should be doing in the gym. So we all know that this profession is athletic, right? You're moving a lot, we're lifting, cardio based. There's a lot of things going on here. So not only are we training our skills to get proficient in our firefighting skills, we also need to be training our body, right? Because we can have all the equipment in the world, the top-notch stuff, but if our bodies are not conditioned or moving correctly to utilize this stuff, the stuff's not gonna, do the job by itself. So we are the catalyst that helps and that makes that equipment work and operate. So we need to be in tip-top shape in order to have our equipment working how it's supposed to and be getting the job done as quickly and efficiently as possible for those that we are here to serve. So 4 moves based off of a lot of job-related skills that we need and injuries, the history of injuries. So top injuries in the fire service: shoulder issues, knee issues, back issues, right? So 4 movements we should be focusing on is pull-ups, right? So pull-ups help with shoulder. It helps with the musculature of the back and the shoulder and the back. We are also want to work on a lot of our movements are pulling moves, whether it's pulling ropes, pulling ceilings, whatever. There's a lot of pulling, right? And it's self-rescue. So if you fall somewhere, you might need to pull yourself up and out. So second move is a deadlift. So deadlift, super important. Why? Lifting mechanics. So you want to make sure we're lifting the right way. This is going to help reduce those back injuries, making sure when we're lifting with the proper body mechanics. Another move, shoulder press. The shoulder press is that shoulder movement which is going to help build that shoulder muscle and work that joint, give us that proper range of motion, keep everything nice and loose. We want to make sure we can reach overhead. And then that 4th movement is just going to be a squat. We need leg strength. We need to make sure that we're squatting the proper way, getting that full range of motion. A squat is the most natural movement that a human can do. Look at a baby, they hang out down on that squat all the time and play with their toys and whatnot. So that's one of the most fundamental movements of a person. All these movements are multi-joint movements, multi-body part movements. So that's the best part about it. You're not just strictly working one muscle group versus another. So you're engaged in a lot of the core and a lot of other muscles as well. So get into the pull-up. So what you want to do, a lot of people probably can't even do a pull-up, right? So we'll show you some different ways to modify it. So regular pull-up, you're going to want to hang from this pull-up bar behind me. But what we don't want is you don't want to be hanging from your shoulder joint, so you want to have active shoulders. So make sure you're not hanging. You're kind of putting some tension in that shoulders and your palms are facing forward. Pull your chin over the bar, slowly let yourself back, right? So let's see. So I want you hanging. I'm hanging from my shoulder joint, right? So active shoulders, keep them active the whole time. Control it up, chin over the bar, control it down. That's 1. All right? So you're gonna do that as many as you can. I like doing a couple sets of max reps just to kind of keep pushing it a little bit and see if there, throughout the weeks or months I can get a little bit further and further and further. So if you can't do a pull-up, there's many different ways to do it. So we have these rings over here. You can use rings or TRX strap, do the inverted rows, and I'll show you that. Or you can just put a barbell up on this rack, do the same thing. So you got your barbell on the rack. Make sure you're coming on the right side of it so you're not pulling the bar off the rack. Same thing, palms forward. You can make the difficulty however you want. So 45-degree angle, pull your chest, control it down. The more vertical you go, the harder it is. You can put your feet up on a box and pull your chest up. So the difficulty level there is all kind of interchangeable. So you start to what you can do, and over time, you slowly increase it and increase the difficulty level. All right? So shoulder press, same thing. If you're sitting, it's going to strictly isolate those shoulders. If you're standing up, you can tighten that core, tighten those glutes, get it up on your shoulders. Dumbbells or a barbell, press it straight up, straight down. So you can use a rack, or you can, if it's light enough, you can kind of power clean it up and get your shoulders under that bar, chin out of the way, straight up, lock it out overhead, straight back down, okay? So this is a strength move. It can also be used as a rehab move. So if you want to use it as rehabilitation for a shoulder injury, just work it really light and kind of a higher rep scheme. If you're trying to build that strength, you're going to go, keep trying to increase the weight and do a lower rep scheme. All right. Next thing is the deadlift. So deadlift, you're going to make sure your feet shoulder width, back nice and flat. So when you come down, you're going to start by pushing the hips back, keeping the back nice and flat, neck neutral. Once you grab something, picking it up off the floor, squeezing the glutes at the top, making sure everything's in a nice straight line. All right? You're trying to keep that back nice and straight in a neutral position. Don't hyperextend. You don't want your neck looking up when you're here. So this is super important because what do we do all the time? We're picking people up. I don't know about you, but almost every single shift I'm picking up a stretcher. I'm going and lifting somebody off the floor that took a fall, no injuries, but just need to be assisted up. Taking people down stairs on backboards, all kinds of craziness, right? So awkward positions. Sometimes people are in the bathtub. You got to somehow get in there, lift them out of the bathtub. It's just our body's already in a bad position, right? So the better we can perform this outside of those bad situations, then the better that we can kind of apply the mechanics to those situations, right? So grab your bar, and every time I lift something, I think about these steps in my head. So when I'm going to pick somebody up, I'm thinking, grab it, all right, set my core and everything, keep my body nice and tight, and then as I lift and we count, we're lifting, keeping that object or that person as close to our body as we can. So as you can see, so if I'm picking them up from the floor, just let it drag up my legs, nice and tall. Every time we're setting it down, same kind of thing. So with the deadlift, you can lift anything. You can have, if you have a sandbag, if you have high-rise pack, you might have kettlebells at your firehouse, even foam buckets. You can hold 2 foam buckets, right? Deadlift it. Put someone on a backboard or some weight on a backboard and just do some lifts with it. So there's many options. You don't have to have a barbell with a lot of weight. Same thing if you're already suffering from some back issues, then stay light, right? Movement is medicine. So you're gonna just keep making sure you're moving. Does not have to be heavy. Keep moving. As soon as you stop moving, that's when everything starts getting tight and you start having issues. And tight muscles is like a cold rubber band, frozen rubber band. When you pull it, what happens? Snaps. So that's not what we want. So we want movement. Last thing, 4th one we're gonna go over is a squat. Squatting, you want to try to squat low as you can. You want that full range of motion. So I'm not saying squat till your butt touches the back of your calves. If you can, then that's awesome. If not, as low as you can, it's fine. But you want to try to get this hip crease. So when I lean over right here, that crease, you want that to be below the top of your knee. So a little bit below parallel. So if you're trying to sit down on the toilet or onto a like a basketball, just something sitting onto something, because most of the time we go to patients a lot too. What do you see the reclining chairs they have? The whole thing lifts up, right? So they can't squat no more. They just back up to it lean against it and push the button and it sits them down. So that right there is a perfect example of the use it or lose it. So if you don't practice squatting, you might end up, having to use one of those later on. But not saying there's anything wrong with it, but I know I don't really want to have to be concerned about that. So I'm going to try to squat every day. So what you're going to do, you want your feet shoulder width. So if you draw a line straight down, keep your arms out for balance, squat nice and low. Once you're down here, stand up. All right, from the side, arms up, squat nice and low, stand up. And then you can do a few repetitions. Make sure your feet stay flat on the floor. Don't lift that heel up. All right? So once you get the movement down without any weight, then it's time to start adding some weight to build up some strength. So this movement, all these movements are multifunctional and they work multiple parts of your body. It's called a compound movement, and they're super important for our job. These are some of the basis or the base movements that we just build upon as we start to start our fitness program and incorporate more exercise. Make sure you don't forget your cardio. So we'll do that on another video. So go ahead, try some of these movements out. If you have any questions, just go ahead and let me know your questions and I'll see if I can answer them. If you want me to reach out to you via email, just put your email in there or send me a message and we'll get in touch. All right?